Alright, so on the back of your paper, you should have a line that looks like this on the graph. And this is your marginal revenue product, or your demand for any resource. This is the demand curve for labor, for capital, for land, any of the factors of production. This is what the demand curve looks like for it. And it's the marginal revenue product. Now notice, you got your marginal revenue product by multiplying marginal physical product times your price. So the idea that this chart is trying to, or that this paper is trying to illustrate to you, is the idea that the demand curve for labor, land, and capital for any factor of production is derived from this formula. So we figure it out from this formula. So if you look at your chart on page 1 of your worksheet, the price of the yo-yos is $2. But imagine if for some reason it were $4. Your marginal revenue product would be different. Instead of it being 16 for the first unit, it had been 32. It had been 24 for the second one. So you would have graphed all of your marginal revenue product values a little higher. So your demand curve essentially would have looked like it was to the right. And the same if the marginal physical product had increased for each unit as well. So this curve here depends on these two things. This is what we call derived demand. So if you look back to your slideshow packet, you'll see this. So derived demand here. So I want you to write some stuff down here. This is what we use to describe the demand curve for resources. Examples include land, labor, and capital. Alright? So it derives from something else. It comes from the productivity of the worker or the machine, as well as the price of the output. In the case of the worksheet, the yo-yos. So hopefully by now, two ways we could increase the demand for labor: increase MPP, and or the price of the product that labor makes, the output labor makes. Okay, if it's bananas that they pick, then that's the price of the bananas. If it's I don't know, DVD videos, make the price of DVD videos bigger. Okay, but those would affect your demand for those resources. Now if you go to the bottom of your worksheet number 1, you'll see a chart that looks like the one that's on your paper here. Now what's going to happen is they're going to give you a situation. I'm going to do a couple of these with you, and then I'm going to leave you to figure them out on your own after that. So if you think about this demand for labor, this is your marginal revenue product. Okay, now only one of the marginal physical product or the price is going to change, not both of them. All right, it's only going to be one or the other. So you're going to end up with a blank box and an up or a down arrow. So we're going to look at the scenario and then figure out which is going to change here. So we're dealing with yo-yos here. A new yo-yo machine increases productivity of labor. Well, did the price of the yo-yos change? No. But now my workers can produce more, right? So that means that what's going to happen to their marginal revenue product? It's going to increase. I'm going to put an up arrow. You can put an up arrow too. So now let me ask you this. If this is your demand for labor, right? Your MRP that we just did before, and this is your supply for labor, let's assume, and the demand increases. Now notice, this is the market for labor here. So now what happened to the price or the wage of labor? It increased as well. Now if you really want to get crazy, this will have an effect back in your product market. Because now when we look at the market for yo-yos, it's more expensive to make them. So maybe as we go along here, the supply curve for yo-yos would shift to the left, which would drop the price of the yo-yos, which would then have another impact here. Oh, let's not get too carried away. All right? Let's not get too carried away. All right? So let's do the second one here. It says the price of yo-yos increases. Does that change the worker's ability to produce? No. But it does drive the price up. And so now each worker is going to appear more valuable because their MRP has gone up again. So MRP moved to the demand for labor, or the marginal revenue product, increase, so the wage also increases. Okay? So I'm going to let you try the 4 that remain here. Okay? If you have any trouble, be sure to let me know.